Kristi Haindfield.
And Terry Haindfield. We're ReDoux 232. ReDoux 232 is about designing and making items out of repurposed and salvage type items into household decor, making creations from the metal and the wood and furniture.
We buy from different vendors all across the Midwest, and we also sell at those same, not necessarily always the same, but the same types of shows, anywhere from Spearfish, South Dakota, all the way to Chicago.
Places where we gather our items to make a creation in an artful way would be flea markets, garage sales, family, friends. We'll salvage different types of materials to make these creations there for household decor.
We take these bits and pieces that we have purchased from various vendors and we try and make them into something unique and purposeful. For instance, we have behind us a locker door piece that we painted and added the cushion to, so it has storage underneath and can be used as a bench. We have an old forge here that we put a polyacrylic on, put the shelf on the bottom, and this is a
wine barrel top.
Yeah. We have an old window that I added a shelf to and the wreath. This is vintage tin placed inside an antique mirror.
And repurposing different types of items is a combination of different materials. So this is a ceiling tin from a real old house to also the sewing base of a Singer sewing machine. Also taking metal types of stands of whatever to put either a whiskey barrel top or a wine barrel top on there for a side table. Well, this was a really cool project where this is a wash tub stand where the two wash tubs were on the side with a ringer in between, and we made this into a coffee table with an extra shelf down below. The hardware is still on this and creates a neat kind of a unique coffee table. The beginning might not be cleaning up these items. The beginning actually is trying to find the items and have that creation of what we can do with them. Sometimes something as unique as this was an old battery stand from a hardware store, adding with some distressed chippy white wood onto it makes a creative shelving unit for interior decoration. The same goes with locker doors, even though we all are familiar with the vintage lockers, to put that into a useful purpose and to make it into the household decor where you have unique storage and a shelf up on top.
And I like to do painting too, so this is just an old vintage dresser that I painted in a couple of tones. This is stained and then painted. And this is some old corbels that a gentleman was gracious enough to give to us, bless his heart. And this is just a chunk of an old door, I believe. And again, this is all vintage wood. These are actually from an old church, and they're the hymn numbers. So I was using those to decorate that piece a little bit. Try and make our things usable, so not just decorative, but also functional if possible, because those are the kinds of things I'd like to have in my house that serve a purpose.
These items also have a great story behind them, and that's what's interesting, whether it's a wash tub stand into a coffee table or a type of corbels made into a useful shelf. And who knows the stories behind this door of some vintage house maybe 100 years ago. This particular project for the Northeast Iowa Art Tour that we'll document step by step is a vintage grape or wine press that I located in Wisconsin. And I had the vision of making an interesting pub table out of this. This top part comes off for now. The wood and the metal makes a tremendous partnership for some beauty on this. This iron stand had some rust on it, and we love the patina that happens after you've cleaned that rust up. I used both a grinder with a wire brush and also a drill and went over the rust areas there to polish them down to keep the patina but make that clean enough there that we can put a polyacrylic on this as our base for our pub table.
Now that Terry has it all cleaned, I will put a polyacrylic on it, which really brings out the patina and the rust. And I'll also put a polyacrylic on the entire wood piece as well as the metal bands. And from there, Terry is going to turn it into a pub table.
We will build up the base onto here to be able to take on this old wire cable top from an old spool to make it into that correct height for a pub table.
I think we're also going to add pieces of wood at the base and put it on wheels so that people can wheel around, because this entire piece is going to be quite heavy. So somebody's gonna, if you want to, I don't think it's going to be liftable.
But extremely sturdy.
You can put a lot of beers on it.
So this project will be available for the Northeast Iowa Art Tour, and the step-by-step process of this video will show each of these steps as we get to that finished product.
I just want to mention too that we also do custom work. We've been doing more and more of that lately during this COVID epidemic, but we'll do it at any point in time. We can pick up the pieces, sometimes they're delivered here. That includes painting, staining, just general repurposing. So if you're interested, let us know.
And that can be an upscale of a furniture type of piece, or a creation of some sort that fits each individual's house.
We want to thank you for taking the time to view our video, and we hope to see you next year in 2021 in person.
Yeah, and sure look at our Facebook page and our new website that's coming up for other information about ReDoux 232.